Before we start today's story, we would like to request you to help out our friend's new channel Timeless Audio Tales, where he puts together some amazing stories. The link is in the description box, so please visit the channel and hit the subscribe button. Now let's start with today's story. Even with my persistent doubts, my affection for her stayed unwavering. Unusual events, unlike anything we've experienced in our 15 years together, triggered a sense of unease within me. Her style underwent a significant transformation when the new boss took charge at her office. Out of the blue, our home life transformed into something much more positive. She took the first step towards closeness, marking a shift from her previous actions. Messages exchanged under the cover of darkness turned into a habit, much like the late-night gatherings following the workday. Even as she provided reasonable justifications for every incident, my deep-seated jealousy quietly brewed underneath. I directed the private investigation firm to keep any findings confidential until the investigation was complete. I clung to the hope that my worries were just the result of a vivid imagination. 3 months later, I received an extensive dossier that dismantled my beliefs. The video footage, audio recordings, and photographs laid bare the reality I had dreaded the most. I promptly directed Grant, my attorney, to commence the divorce process, insisting that the documents be ready by Wednesday afternoon. Little did she know, I schemed to confront them during their Thursday night rendezvous, a surprise awaiting the clandestine pair. Her boldness left me in awe. Polly, of all individuals, ought to have been more aware. She understands me deeply, my instincts, my resolve, my relentless spirit. She observed closely my relentless drive in the corporate world, how I ascended to prominence and dismantled my rivals. I now hold a substantial share in a prominent trucking company, gaining the admiration of both drivers and teamsters through equitable treatment. I have showered Polly with affection and gifts, treating her like a queen, a detail she eagerly boasts about to her friends and family. Yet, in spite of her deep affection, she risked everything for a momentary liaison. What is the reason? This question lingers in my mind, refusing to let go, even in these last moments. Why would she discard everything we've created together? What is the reason behind this? It lingers as my most haunting question. Polly's actions were perplexing, considering her commitment as a devoted mother and wife, balancing household responsibilities alongside her full-time position as an executive assistant at a nearby tech firm. She appeared to possess everything in perfect order. In my most vivid imaginings, I never thought she would wander away. I am Henry Cooper, married to Polly for 15 years and the proud father of our 2 preteen daughters who absolutely cherish their dad. I embody the essence of a strong leader, steadfast in my presence while holding my wife in the highest regard, recognizing her as the treasure she truly represents. While I share my father's impressive height of 6 feet 6 inches and a solid 265 pounds of muscle, I remain a gentle giant unless stirred to action. Polly observed my instinct to shield her during a few instances when we were out and she drew unwelcome attention. Her long legs, slim waist, and angelic face effortlessly attract admiring glances, intensifying my simmering jealousy, a flaw I find difficult to control. In our 15 years together, my jealousy flared up into action on 2 occasions, when assertive men ignored Polly's refusal and tried to drag her onto the dance floor. They misjudged my determination. In those moments, I tapped into my power, causing one man's shoulder to dislocate and delivering a concussion to another. I will not stand for disrespect, yet my wife understands the extent to which I will go to safeguard her. Considering Polly's awareness of my protective instincts, her choice to pursue an affair brings forth intriguing dilemmas. What could possibly compel her to jeopardize all that we have created together? Fully aware of the depths of my loyalty and the breadth of my devotion to her? It's a mystery that lingers in my mind. Thursday evening, every detail was carefully orchestrated for date night. With one of my trusted associates by my side, I reached the chosen spot ahead of time, making sure it was a secluded environment. A generous tip to the hostess secured a table far from curious onlookers. My clever wife thought I was away, oblivious to the scheme I was orchestrating. The audio recordings disclosed her readiness to meet with her boss on Thursday night. Even though my frustration simmered beneath the surface, I remained attentive as he enthusiastically outlined his plans, completely unaware of the brewing turmoil. Using software from the PI agency, I kept a close watch on Polly's communications, documenting every danding exchange. Every message ignited my anger, especially his bold demand to collect her from our residence. My strategy was straightforward: to face them during the unfolding events, presenting a dramatic display that would lead to a somber farewell and the unexpected arrival of divorce papers. A fire of vengeance ignited in my soul, silencing any compassion for the suffering I understood my choices would cause. Even with my strong belief, a persistent uncertainty remained. In my heart, I understood that Polly held love for both me and her children. However, the yearning for vengeance overshadowed any hint of empathy. Some might advocate for forgiveness, referencing our shared years and the insignificance of a fleeting affair. Yet, in my youthful jealousy, I would not allow another man to challenge my wife and keep her affections in his grasp. Even though my affection for her persisted, the treachery forever marred our bond. With my gaze fixed and support carefully arranged, I stood ready for the cue that would mark the perfect time to act. Thursday night came, and after getting the confirmation that the couple was seated and served, I readied myself to face them. Stepping out of my car, I made my way into the restaurant, sharing a few friendly words with the hostess before gathering my resolve to carry out my intentions. As I took in the scene, my heart tightened at the sight of the couple, a mix of betrayal and resentment washing over me as I looked at my wife, radiant in a cocktail dress that highlighted her perfect figure, a vision she had never shared with me. The mysterious act ignited my growing anger, deepening my resolve to uncover the truth. Gathering my courage, I moved in from the side, their unawareness strengthening my determination. Polly and her companion were deeply absorbed in one another, their closeness a vivid counterpoint to the looming clash ahead. With meticulous care, I took my place at their table, remaining unseen until I dragged a chair from a nearby table, prompting a response that flickered between surprise and remorse on Polly's face. With a strained cheerfulness, I pretended not to understand the circumstances. Polly's effort to stay composed, along with her presentation of me to her unsuspecting date, only intensified my contempt. The illusion of normalcy crumbled as the clash began. She possessed an unparalleled skill in the art of illusion. I had to acknowledge that. Graceful and swift in her movements, she skillfully concealed her dishonesty. As my drink was served, I dismissed Polly's tall tales and lifted my glass in a deliberate toast. With a warm smile, I suggested we raise our glasses, skillfully shifting focus away from her subtle deception. Cheers to a captivating night and the beginning of a fresh narrative. I approached Jasper, my boss, and struck up a conversation, pretending not to know about Polly's misdeeds. Jasper, are you aware of the key to the 15 years of happiness that Polly and I have shared in our marriage? It stands on a base of integrity and reliability. Is Jasper married? I inquired, equipped with insights gathered from the report. Indeed, after 20 years of a joyful marriage and raising 4 amazing children, Jasper shared my views on the vital role of trust and honesty in a relationship. It was delightful to hear. Jasper, I said, shifting the focus back to Polly. Polly, do you feel the same way? Absolutely, my dear. Trust and honesty are essential in our relationship, Polly stated with conviction, her expression revealing no trace of guilt or fear. Jasper, our union flourishes because of the trust we share. I pressed on, observing their unease as I took a measured sip from my glass. As long as Polly stays true, she understands that she has my steadfast love and support. With each meticulously selected phrase, I tightened the grip of my strategy, determined to expose their obsession. How long have you both been in a relationship? I asked with a casual air. A smile stretched wide across my face. Polly's annoyance surged as she tried to assert herself, her voice filled with indignation. Darling, this is purely a business meeting, she shot back, giving me a disapproving look. I would appreciate it if you could avoid putting me in an awkward position with my boss due to your unfounded jealousy. You understand me more deeply than that. Seizing the moment, her date interjected, keen to defend his innocence. Indeed, Henry, this is strictly a matter of business, he interjected, taking on a more diplomatic tone. I wanted to have a conversation with Polly about some upcoming changes. I regret any confusion that may have arisen, but please know that my intentions are entirely professional. With a facade of remorse, I extended a timid apology. I expressed my apologies for any confusion, my voice low and my posture reflecting a sense of humility. So, is this merely a business dinner? Are there no romantic connections? Indeed, Henry, Polly confirmed with a strained sense of certainty. Only professional gatherings, nothing beyond that. Kindly refrain from this immature conduct. Lowering my gaze in feigned obedience, I persisted in fulfilling my role. Apologies escaped my lips, though I fought to keep my bubbling resentment at bay. Witnessing you in that captivating dress, alongside this delightful gentleman, it's easy to see why I might feel a bit uneasy. Jasper's reassurance only strengthened my determination. Henry, there's no need to apologize, he said, giving me a reassuring pat on the back. If I were in your wife's position, I would probably share the same feelings. As the tension faded away, I gestured to the man watching from the bar. Clutching a hefty folder, he made his way to the table, presenting the incriminating evidence. As I spread the damning photos before us, I glanced at Polly, my voice thick with grief. Polly, my affection for you was boundless. I spoke softly, my voice tinged with sorrow. Yet you broke our union with your treachery. The memories of what I witnessed and experienced will stay with me forever. Thank you for shattering all that we built. Polly's gasp pierced the heavy silence, her hands instinctively flying to cover her mouth. Jasper, seething with anger, insisted on uncovering the origin of the damning photos. But I cut him off with a sharp directive. As I presented the incriminating evidence, I paused to examine each photo closely, emphasizing my points with sharp comments. Polly's tears streamed down her face, her desperate cries for mercy ignored as I tried to maintain the privacy of our argument. Aware of the curious gazes from nearby tables, understanding the seriousness of her situation, Polly reached out for a chance to escape. I'm sorry, darling, she pleaded, urgency lacing her tone. Let's step away and discuss this further. It's not as it appears, I assure you. I looked at her with a wry smile, intentionally prolonging my reply. Not what it seems, I repeated softly, my voice tinged with skepticism. Are you genuinely ready to carry on with this pretense? Understand this, both of you. I hold countless hours of undeniable evidence, including videos, audio recordings, texts, emails, and much more. And Polly, after seeing those videos, I never thought you could be so deceptive. You concealed that aspect of yourself skillfully. But I want you to know that I see it all clearly now. I signaled to my colleague, prompting him to clarify our objective. With a grave nod, I handed Polly the divorce papers, my voice laden with inevitability. Polly, our union has come to an end, I proclaimed, my words a chilling accusation. Your actions with your partner have profoundly affected my feelings for you. This evening, you will finalize these documents, with our notary acquaintance present at the bar to witness the occasion. Decline. And I will reveal every unsavory detail to your family, friends, and most importantly, our kids. I have approached this divorce with fairness. But our daughters will reside with me. They are worthy of so much more than a deceitful mother. Jasper, my friend, I started, my tone steady and resolute. I recommend that you encourage your girlfriend to sign these papers before my departure. If not, I will ensure that all the evidence is delivered to your wife and your executive team at work. When I finish, your position will be in jeopardy, and Regina will make certain that your financial situation is dire for an extended period. I would prefer to avoid that path, so persuade her to sign the divorce papers, and then my soon-to-be ex-wife will be entirely yours. I wish to distance myself from that moment of betrayal forever. The gravity of my expressions lingered in the atmosphere, slicing through Polly's defenses. The fear of losing custody of her daughters deepened the desperation etched on her tear-streaked face. While her boyfriend's panic hung heavily in the air, Polly's cries for forgiveness resonated with a haunting urgency, filled with hollow vows to rectify her mistakes, justifications, and fervent expressions of affection. Yet I stood firm, fortifying myself against her wave of emotions. Ignoring her pleas, I stood up from my chair decisively. I declared with conviction that I would be making my way to the men's room. Upon my return, I expect those papers to be signed. Should that be the case, brace yourselves for an unimaginable torment. Left alone with her lover, Polly's sobs grew louder, her desperation deepening as she reached out for a glimmer of hope. Jasper, aware of the seriousness of the moment, moved quickly. "Polly, please sign them," he implored with intensity. "However, request that he keeps them for a week. Take that opportunity to express your love for him, showing that you're willing to do whatever it takes to save your marriage. Commit to the therapy, no matter the cost, but ensure he waits a week. This is our sole opportunity. I don't want a divorce," Polly cried, her voice trembled with feeling. "Believe me, if you can manage to have him hold on, I have faith that you can find a way to restore your marriage. Consider the well-being of the young ones. Surely, you wouldn't want to let the girls slip away, would you?" I pleaded, fully aware of the seriousness of the circumstances. Her tears began to flow once more, and after a few excruciating minutes, I made my way back to the table. "So, have you had a chance to sign them yet?" I inquired, my tone sharp. With a profound sense of melancholy, she locked eyes with me and uttered words steeped in sadness. "Darling, I'm willing to do anything you desire, even signing these documents. Could you please grant me just 1 week? Just 1 week to spend time with my girls and have some heartfelt conversations. After 15 years, I ask for this much." I remained still, reflecting on her request. "Despite everything you've done, I still find it in myself to offer you this." I reluctantly gave in. "You are welcome to return home, but your accommodations will be in one of the guest bedrooms. Please keep your distance from my bed during this time. Please sign them so I can be on my way." With her signature on the papers, I collected them into the folder and prepared to leave. Before departing, I grasped her hand gently in my own. As I observed her, a smile graced her lips until I took off her wedding rings. Letting mine slip into her wine glass, her downcast expression stirred a subtle sense of gratification, a momentary recognition of the hurt she had caused. I turned to Jasper and issued a final warning. "Well, it seems she's your date now. Feel free to do as you wish with her," I hissed, brimming with disdain. "However, keep in mind that you were involved with my wife, which led to the collapse of our marriage and put many things at risk, including my children's affection for their mother. Your fate is sealed, and I hold your future in my grasp. Do not test my patience. Consider yourself fortunate that I didn't proceed with my initial intentions for you. Our story is just beginning. You scoundrel, I will be in touch shortly." "Understood." Jasper nodded quietly as I hovered above him, a wordless acknowledgement of the upheaval of their evening arrangements. Just as I was about to leave, Polly grabbed my arm, her voice filled with desperation. "Henry, may I accompany you home? Please? I simply wish to be by your side. Kindly." I flinched away from her touch, feeling as though I had been burned, my revulsion unmistakable. "Less than text. I have no wish to be associated with a traitor such as yourself," I replied, my contempt clear. "Your presence is repulsive to me. I feel a deep sense of regret about our time together as your husband." I must confess, I wasn't exactly composed at that time. But honestly, it didn't matter to me. Amidst the storm of feelings swirling inside me, I found a sense of accomplishment in my capacity to manage my jealousy and anger. I allowed her a week to reflect on her choices. Now it was time to discover what would transpire. The next morning, I noticed her coming back late at night, softly making her way to the guest suite, a silent recognition of the tension that lingered between us. The following morning, as our paths intersected in the kitchen, I held steadfast in my quest for vengeance. "Good morning, deceiver," I acknowledged her with a frosty demeanor, my voice laced with disdain. "How is my unfaithful partner today?" She flinched, her gaze falling to her coffee cup, as she spoke the well-worn words of every unfaithful partner caught red-handed. "Honey, we need to talk. Hear me out. There's really no point in continuing this conversation." "Polly," I interrupted, halting her effort to mend things. "I possess all knowledge. I am fully aware of the depth of your betrayal, the length of your affair, and the hurtful comments you directed at me in our marriage. I observed the actions you took with him, the manner in which you adorned yourself for him. I listened to every comparison, every falsehood, every act of betrayal. You underestimated my intelligence, and it's hard to comprehend how naive you were to think you could escape the consequences. If I haven't missed anything, then there's really nothing more to discuss. I'm the fool, not you," Polly admitted, tears flowing down her face. I can't quite grasp why I allowed it to unfold this way. You provided me with all that I ever desired, and my love for you remains unchanged despite what you may have heard in those recordings. I want you to understand that I never intended to cause you pain. And it was never my wish for you to discover the truth. Exactly my point, Polly, I replied, my voice laden with disappointment. You always hoped I would remain in the dark. You aimed to maintain the facade, to persist in deceiving me while carrying on your affair in the shadows. That's the heart of the issue. Polly, infidelity is something I can move past. Ultimately, we are all fallible and prone to errors. However, this was not an error. You made this decision, and you opted to keep it hidden. To deceive, manipulate, and hide your betrayal. I care for you deeply, Polly, yet as Tina Turner puts it, what does love really matter in the grand scheme of things? My faith is broken, and I find myself questioning whether I ever really understood you. How many other men have existed? How often have you come back to my bed after spending time with your lover? I'm overwhelmed with disgust and struggling to articulate my feelings. As tears streamed down her face, Polly came to understand the profoundness of my suffering and the seriousness of what she had done. There remained no further excuses or justifications. Just a stark acknowledgement of wrongdoing. All right, I confess, and I loathe myself for it, she revealed, her voice thick with regret. There has always been only you. And regardless of my words, I understand that forgiveness for my actions may forever elude us. However, I am not seeking a divorce. I will go to any lengths to remain by your side. I believe seeking counseling could be beneficial, and perhaps we could attend together to explore what's troubling me. Kindly stay with me. I took a moment to reflect on her request. Polly, seeking counseling is an option for you. Take the necessary steps, and I'll be right here to back you up. At last, I responded. However, I cannot coexist with someone who would so easily cast me aside. Your actions and the words you expressed unveiled your genuine emotions, and I find it difficult to envision a future with someone who harbors such feelings towards me. I am aware that there are other women who would value the opportunity to be with me. You had your chance, and you decided to let it slip away. Have a wonderful week with the girls. Please provide an explanation for your departure. I won't say anything negative about you, but it's crucial that you communicate your departure and the reasons behind it. I declared with conviction. In the divorce agreement, I provided you with full access to our daughters whenever you wish. But they will reside with me. Nonetheless, if you persist in engaging in promiscuous behavior and provide a poor example for our daughters, I will need to reevaluate the conditions of your visitations. I will ensure you receive more than what you expect and support you in nurturing your bond with our daughters. But I have 2 questions for you to reflect on before you respond. To begin with, what is the reason? What compelled you to put it all on the line for this? And secondly, was it truly worthwhile? On the next Monday, I reached out to Jasper and set up a lunch meeting with him for Wednesday. After persuading him of the significance of our meeting, I conveyed my deep disappointment in his role in the unraveling of my marriage and alluded to the possible repercussions. During our lunch, I laid out the consequences of his actions and specified what I expected in terms of restitution. I stated with conviction that you will cover Polly's rent and car payments for the next 3 years. Think of it as your consequence. You're getting off light, Jasper. Regardless of the circumstances, my feelings for my unfaithful wife remain, and I wish for her well-being. Given your involvement in this matter, I expect you to adhere to my requests. This plan will assist Polly in regaining her stability after I send her away. If you don't keep your promises, I'll make sure you face the consequences at work and that Regina finds out about your betrayal. Think of it as a crucial support, Jasper. This is the outcome of enticing a woman who is already committed to another. Individuals in your position must recognize that every action carries consequences. Why not seek out single women rather than disrupting families? That was a rather timid decision, Jasper. Epilogue. Even in the midst of my anger and pain, I ensured that I treated Polly with respect, permitting her to see the children and fostering a polite relationship. Yet, she was unable to restore my respect or trust. Jasper diligently ensured his payments were made each month, fully aware of the repercussions that would follow if he did not adhere to his obligations. Polly found it challenging to deliver the responses I was seeking, although she conveyed regret for her actions and acknowledged their lack of value. She struggled to articulate the deeper motivation behind them. Now residing in solitude, devoid of a partner and the affection she once cherished, she confronted the repercussions of her decisions. I could have caused her greater suffering, but the grief of losing her family and my affection was punishment sufficient. Even after attending counseling, Polly struggled to provide a convincing rationale for her behavior. Her finest effort was, for reasons unknown, it simply occurred. It wasn't about you or our marriage. I truly love you and was content with our life together. It was simply an experience that felt new and thrilling. I made a mistake. Overwhelmed by my frustration, I decided to confront her. If you were genuinely content, what was the reason behind dressing up and choosing provocative attire for him? What makes you act in ways with him that you never did with me? It just happened, is not an adequate response. You continually opted to engage in this relationship and adorned yourself to attract him on every occasion. Yet you assert that you have feelings for me. Maybe someday you'll find the bravery to offer a true explanation. I think you should provide us with that consideration. For those who have experienced betrayal, this continues to be an enigma without resolution. The actions of these two deceitful couples have left me questioning whether I can ever truly trust or dedicate myself to another woman again. It's a poignant truth, yet one that I must accept. Thank you to all who dedicated their time to engage with today's narratives. If you found it enjoyable, I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. If you haven't done so yet, we welcome your insights on the events in the comments section below. Be well.